Welcome back to Old School Sports and our Out of the Park Baseball 24 playthrough of the 112 and 50 Buffalo Wings. Best record in baseball for the Buffalo Wings this year. We will have home field advantage for as long as we are alive in the playoffs. Seventh consecutive trip to the postseason for the Buffalo Wings in 9 years as GM/manager, but we still are yet to make a World Series, much less win one. That is absolutely the goal year this year. Anything less than a World Series title will be a disappointment. Some of you have been encouraging me to play out the games as manager, and I am going to do that in the playoffs this time around. I will not subject you to every bit of the action. I know that some of you would watch every bit of the action, and I do sincerely appreciate your loyalty to do so. But I'm going to try to play out the games myself. And if we're at a big moment in a game, if I make a key decision, I will go to the video and play that out so you can follow along with the big decisions for me. Before we get into that, though, Fake Name had a good comment to our last episode and asked me to check in on the 5 players that we traded for during and approaching the trade deadline and how they did for us. First and most foremost is Alexis Barajas. Brought him on board to hopefully be our ace starter for many years to come. Honestly, he was not great for us. 5-4 record with a 4.48 ERA. That said, he did strike out more than a batter an inning, had a 1.18 whip and a 2.87 SIERA. The issue is he somehow gave up 15 home runs in 76 and a third innings pitched. And he's a ground baller pitcher type with ground ball tendencies and above average movement on his pitches. So I think that is really just bad luck in a small sample size. Obviously, he split the season as far as Miami and Buffalo being his home parks. So the splits are not going to be incredibly educational here for us. But he had 10 home runs allowed at home and 10 on the road over those 2 teams. So I don't think it's a problem with our park and him. I think it's really just bad luck. And unfortunately, he had a lot of it while he was with us. The only positive from his mediocre performance since we brought him on board is that his arbitration number has gone down from 11 million to a little under 10 million. We'll be looking to hopefully sign him to a long-term contract, and maybe that will make things somewhat more palatable as far as the pricing for us. Certainly would have hoped for more out of Barajas for the year. You can see 14-7 with a 2.99 ERA with the numbers that he put up for the Marlins before he joined us. So expect more from him going forward. Hopefully he can come through with some big wins in the playoffs. We picked up 2 other pitchers down the stretch, a righty and a lefty. The righty, Marco Jimenez, 150 ERA over 24 innings pitched for us, whip just over 1, 280 ERA plus, 62 fit minus. His SIERA was higher by almost 2 runs than at 150 ERA, but looks like he was a reasonably effective pitcher for us out of the bullpen. The lefty that we picked up, Juan Veliz, was also really good, more than a strikeout per inning over 28 and a third innings, 286 ERA, 147 ERA plus, 61 fit minus. Expect both of those gentlemen to have big roles for us in the playoffs. Our pitching staff with our top 4 is loaded. Our bullpen is loaded as well. The one decision that I still have to make is potentially taking the lefty Matthew Wenzel off of the team. If we take Wenzel off the team, that will allow us to have our number 5 starter Harleen Susanna on the team working out of the bullpen. I think Susanna is a better pitcher. 371 ERA for us this year with a 351 Sierra. Still deciding what to do on that front. Having the third lefty out of the pen is certainly helpful. But Wenzel, with a 4.23 ERA over 66 innings pitched, allowed 8 home runs. His movement is only average. And most importantly, he's certainly better against lefties, but not dominant against lefties. That is the only decision I'm really making. I have made one decision, as I always do, to go to 12 pitchers rather than 13 for the playoffs. But to me, the only decision that I need to make is whether I keep a third lefty, Wenzel, out of the pen, or bring Harleen Susanna on to be a reliever for us. Turning now to our everyday players, the one guy who's on the Major League roster that we picked up in a trade was Joey Moore from the Red Sox. He only hit 275 for us, did have 10 doubles in 120 at-bats, so was pretty good knocking some extra base hits around. But a 96 WRC plus was definitely not what we were expecting from him. Certainly thought we would get more offense out of him. This is a guy who over the course of his major league career has had a 120 WRC plus. You can see every stint in his career, whether with Kansas City or Boston, till he came to us, has been league average or better. So hopefully just a relatively small sample size, maybe a little bit of a tough transition for him. And hopefully we can get more out of him out of the playoffs. The fifth guy that we traded for is Chris Dillard. We had him down in Albany because he did have 1 or 2 option years left. Trying to get him more proficient at third base and second base. Thought he could be a nice defensive substitute for us for the playoffs. Unfortunately for Mr. Dillard, he has been supplanted in that role by Steve Anderson, who had an excellent year for us between AA and AAA. We brought him up as a September call-up. He only hit 214 for us, but I think that his defensive profile is really similar, and his bat looks better overall. Although Anderson has not hit incredibly well for us, we are going to continue to start him against right-handed pitchers, given that he's a left-handed hitter with really good defense. Our former starting shortstop, Tim Hull, is going to be playing against left-handed pitching only. We'll see how that works out. We've got a lot of platoons going on with our playoff roster, and hopefully we can dominate our opponents with some great offense and a lot of righties and lefties that we can mix and match, and hopefully some decent defensive substitutes to bring on in the late innings as we're trying to protect some leads. And with the 14th player, since we're going to only go with 12 pitchers on the 26-man playoff roster, my thought was to bring Nate Kimmel back up from AAA, a guy who has absolutely nothing left to prove in AAA, and did hit 271 at the major league level. But he was ultimately below average at the major league level in terms of his bat, and he doesn't bring much to the table defensively. So for our 14th player, we are going to do something that I don't think we've done it all with the Buffalo Wings, but we have done once or twice in previous playthroughs. And we are going to have the 14th position player on our playoff roster be a player with no major league experience. We are throwing everything we can at the playoffs this year, and we are going to bring up the second best prospect in our system, Arturo Flores, the number 69 prospect in baseball. He does not bring anything at all to the table defensively, but he had a season that's going to go down in history this year. 61 home runs in the minor leagues across A, High A, Double A, and Triple A. This is a guy who was our top international free agent signing just 4 years ago in 2030. Hadn't played above rookie ball until this season, and he just made a meteoric rise through our farm system. Hit 346 in 26 at-bats in AAA. Obviously a very small sample size, but I look at that bat against left-handed pitching, and I think we can deal with his poor defense and Jenneret's poor defense. I feel like if we end up playing against a left-handed pitcher, we are just going to try to batter them to death with our offense. So Mr. Flores, who has just 8 games in AAA and was playing in rookie ball as of a year ago, is going to be the 26th man on our major league roster for the playoffs, and he is going to be in our starting lineup against left-handed pitching. And if we get to a situation where we happen to face a right-handed reliever, if we get to a situation we're going to be facing a left-handed reliever, I think that big bat of Flores could potentially and hopefully come through with a big hit for us. So we're rolling the dice there a little bit. We've also got, and I'm sure if you've been looking closely, you've been seeing that we're going to be playing the Phillies. And you look at this, and we were 23 games better than the Phillies in the NL East this year. Think on paper, this should be a very easy series for us. Unfortunately, the Phillies dominated us this year. In a 112-50 season, the Phillies were 9-3 against our Buffalo Wings. So we were 109-41 this year when we weren't playing the Philadelphia Phillies. Certainly, that indicates that this could be the horrible matchup for us as far as this National League Division Series. You look at the rest of the stats, though, and we were second in the National League in runs scored. The Phillies were actually third, but we still outscored them by 71 runs this year. And we were the number 1 pitching staff in the National League, while the Phillies were right in the middle of the pack. So it's an interesting matchup. When I noticed how poor we were against the Phillies this year, I'm not going to lie, I was hoping that the Marlins would have upset them in the playoffs. But that was not to be the case. The Marlins took game 1 of the series, and then the Phillies took the next 2. The Mets swept the Cubs, the Yankees swept the A's, and the Mariners took out the Rangers 2-1. So Kansas City against the Yankees, Toronto against Seattle, San Francisco against the Mets, and our Buffalo Wings will be facing off against the Philadelphia Phillies here in the National League Division Series. And I did think about getting creative with the pitching staff because Philadelphia is definitely a ballpark that's inclined to give up home runs, and our 2 best pitchers as far as movement are Sincere Shazier and Alexis Barajas, our 1-2 guys. I did consider moving one of them so they would be pitching in Philadelphia, thinking that there's less chance of them giving up home runs. That said, Jorge Carrillo and Juan Estrada still both have above average movement. So hopefully they won't give up too many dingers there. And then when I looked at the potential Game 3 pitcher for the Phillies, Christian Guevara is a left-handed pitcher, fly ball pitcher, doesn't throw all that hard and only has average movement. Gave up 23 home runs this year between Cleveland and Philadelphia. But with the lineup that we are going to be rolling out there in Game 3 against a left-handed pitcher, I feel like we should score some runs. So the way I am trying to set up this series is we win at home with our first two, Shazier and Barajas, take a 2-0 lead to Philly, and then we just batter their pitcher in Game 3 with our right-handed bats and go on home. Clearly, that's a hope trade rather than a reality situation right now, but we will see what happens. And I have decided we're going to keep Wenzel on the roster, give us a third lefty out of the bullpen. Definitely don't feel great about leaving Harleen Susanna on the bench for the series. But my thought is we've got so many righties in the bullpen already. Miller, our closer, Varejo, Jimenez, Painter, and Hayden Yinger, that I'm probably never going to be needing to use Susanna in a high leverage situation out of the bullpen. So I prefer to have that third lefty, particularly because I'm going to be playing out the games myself. In case there's a matchup situation where the other lefties are tired or it's earlier in a game, our pitcher has not done well, but it's still a close game, and we're not quite ready to go to somebody like Walborn or Valise, but we need a big out against a left-handed batter. We'll see. It's perfectly conceivable that Wenzel never pitches, and if he never pitches, that probably means things went pretty well for us. But just feel like having the option of the third lefty in the pen is going to be more valuable to me. And as much as I like Harleen Susanna, I really like the 5 other right-handers that we're going to have in the bullpen as well. So it's going to be an interesting challenge against the one team that really dominated us this regular season. Sincere Shazier, 14-7 with a 3.71 ERA. Not quite as sharp this year as he was during his rookie season last year, but still an excellent pitcher for us. Will be on the mound going up against Kevin Navarro, 13-8 with a 3.99 earned run average. The 25-year-old looks like he's been up for the last few seasons in Philadelphia. Had a 3.88 Sierra. His stuff is not exceptional, but a ground ball pitcher with good movement on his pitches. Tries to keep the ball in the ballpark, even though he did give up 23 home runs this year. So we are going to go ahead and play ball, and I will let you know when we get to an interesting decision or just if the game gets out of hand one way or the other. And I don't remember seeing anything like this in the games I've played out before, particularly against a team that took 9 out of 12 games against us this year. But we supposedly have the advantage at every position on the field today and in the pitching staff. Probably a sign that we're going to somehow lose this game, but hopefully it'll be an easy victory for the Wings here in Game 1 of this National League Division Series. And we can avoid falling in a 1-0 hole and putting the pressure on ourselves right away. And we're going to the bottom of the first with no score. Philadelphia actually had a leadoff double from their leadoff hitter, Shu Lam, and he ended up stealing a base, so he was on third with 1 out, but Sincere Shazier got a grounder to first, and then his second strikeout of the inning to get out of the jam. And a fantastic start for the game for Buffalo. Deshaun Safety, who led the league in doubles and triples this year, a triple to the left center field gap to start the game off. So we'll actually pitch out with Juanis, not pitch out, but we'll show the pitch to Juan Estrada here, see if he can give us an early lead. And he does. Juan Estrada, the two-way player, comes through with a single here in the bottom of the first, and Buffalo Wings are up 1-0. And we're going to go back to the action right now. After Estrada singled, there was a wild pitch, and he took second on that. Mike Heiner subsequently walked. So last year's American League MVP, Shamar Jenneret, our big free agent signing, he's hot. He led the National League in runs batted in this year, and he's up here in the bottom of the first with 2 runners on. Potential chance to really break things open. And it looks like he gave it a ride. A 3-run home run for Shamar Jenneret. So the Buffalo Wings are up 4-0 here in the first inning before there's even been an out recorded. So things are going well here in Buffalo. And we had a scoreless top of the second, and the rookie shortstop Steve Anderson just went yard in his first postseason at bat. So a 5-0 lead now for Buffalo here in the bottom of the second, and Steve Anderson coming through in his first postseason appearance at the major league level. Andres Medina, the number 9 hitter, our catcher, just went yard against his former team. So 6 runs here for Buffalo in the first 2 innings. This offense is just feasting on Philadelphia at this point. And they have gone to the bullpen, it looks like, with Tylor Megill. Maybe they had actually already went to the bullpen before that. Let me check. Nope. Yeah, Tylor Megill was already in the game. He came in and he gave up the home run to Medina on the first pitch that he faced. So the first batter that he faced. So I missed that Flores was removed. So Tylor Megill, a former original Buffalo Wing. The Wings are getting a little bit of revenge on Megill. You may remember after the first season in Buffalo, he was traded away because he was unhappy with the team, and we didn't want his bad personality ruining our clubhouse. And now we're getting a shot at him in the playoffs. And as I mentioned, Andres Medina, the young catcher, goes yard against his former team, the Philadelphia Phillies. And Deshaun Seifu previously doubled, wasn't going to bring this up, but the power, or more accurately the speed of Deshaun Seifu on display here. He doubled, as I mentioned. Juan Estrada flew out to left field, and Seifu tagged up going to third, standing up against left fielder Jake Spring, who has a pretty good arm. So Seifu's speed is still paying dividends. We'll see if Jenneret, who had that big 3-run homer his first time up, can come through here with 2 outs and a runner on third. And it looks like he flies out to left to end the inning. But certainly a great start for Buffalo here in Game 1 of this NLDS, up 6-0 as we head to the third inning. And Sincere Shazier is in a bit of a jam here. Bases loaded, 2 outs in the top of the third. He just made an error on a play at first. The throw from Heiner to Hinton. Shazier dropped it to keep the inning alive. So can our ace get out of a bases loaded jam with 2 outs here in the top of the third inning? Got him to pop out to third, so Cam Collier handles it. Crisis averted, and Buffalo still up 6-0 as we head to the bottom of the third. And here in the top of the fifth, Philadelphia just had a 2-run home run. Their leadoff hitter, who's been on the bases, Sue Lamb, had a single. And then second baseman Jacob Gonzalez just went yard to cut the lead to 6-2 with 1 out here in the top of the fifth. Still would like to get through this inning from Sincere Shazier. He's got the right-handed hitter Briseno here. Would love to have the starter in line for a W, but we're certainly not going to Not going to force things. If we get to a situation where things look bad, we'll get them yanked. And Shazier got a strikeout and then a pop out to second base to get out of the inning. So we head to the bottom of the fifth with a 6-2 lead for Buffalo. Tyler McGill still on the mound for the Phillies. And we've got a 6-2 lead as we go to the top of the sixth. Sincere Shazier has thrown 78 pitches. He's in the yellow zone. Just gave up 2 runs last inning. We have got a great bullpen, and it's completely rested. We've got a bunch of right-handed hitters coming up for the Phillies. Shazier is obviously also a right-handed pitcher too, but we are not going to push things. We are going to go to our bullpen, and we are going to bring in Andrew Painter, the right-hander, see if perhaps Painter can give us an inning or two. Painter had another big year for us, working primarily out of the bullpen, although he did start 11 games for us earlier in the season. 7-3 record, a 1.92 ERA over 117 innings pitched. Only a 227 BABIP, so he probably got a bit lucky with those overall results, but we're going to bring Painter on to see if he can handle the next inning or two for us. And Andrew Painter has done a nice job for us, 5 up and 5 down over an inning and 2/3, 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. But we've got Sue Lamb, Gonzalez, and Spring, lefties, 3 of the next 4 potential hitters. So we are not going to fool around. We've got lefties coming up. We've got good lefties in the bullpen. And we are going to go right to Juan Veliz, the lefty who we picked up before the trade deadline, and see if he can get Lamb here. We'll go to live action and see if he can get him out to get out of this top of the 7th and head us to the 7th inning stretch. And not to be the case. He has been a thorn in our side tonight. Lamb, his first home run of the postseason. The score is 6-3, so we may have outthought ourselves there. Let's see what he can do against Jacob Gonzalez, and if we can get out of this inning without any more damage. And he goes the opposite way, but a nice sliding catch by Bobby Bolig to get out of the inning. But the Phillies have cut our 6-0 lead in half to 6-3 as we head to the bottom of the 7th here in Buffalo. And we've got an opportunity to get a run back here in the bottom of the 7th. Mike Heiner doubled. He just went to third on either a passed ball or a wild pitch. We've got Shamar Jenneret up with a runner on third and 1 out, so a fly ball to the left field should get the job done. Unfortunately, Jenneret grounded it right down to third. Third baseman held the runner. So now it's a matter, can Bobby Bolig, the left-hander who is really tough on right-handed pitching, can Bolig come through with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th? And he cannot. So 6-3 lead for the Wings as we head to the top of the 8th. And we are going to make another call to the bullpen here in the top of the 8th with 1 out. Juan Veliz, the left-handed pitcher, walked the right-handed hitter, Frank Briseno. He did then get Jake Spring to make the first out of the inning, but we've got a bunch of righties coming up, 1 out and a runner on first base. And we are going to go to the guy who's had a massive year for us. Actually, we are not. We are going to go to Yohane Varejo, the young right-handed pitcher. Varejo on the season, 3-1 record, 16 holds, 4.03 ERA over 38 innings pitched. Not as good as he was a year ago for us. But Vallejo is very tough on right-handed pitchers, as you can see, and hopefully he can get us out of this mini jam right here. Hopefully he can handle this right-handed batter right here. We are going to set the infield at double play depth, try to get out of the inning right here. And we've got a double play ball, 5-4-3, just the way that we wrote it up, and we are headed to the bottom of the 8th with a 6-3 victory, or 6-3 lead for the Buffalo Wings. Hopefully it'll turn into a 6-3 victory. And we're now in the top of the 9th, and we are going to make a curious move. We are not going to go to our closer, Bryce Miller, quite yet. Vallejo, as we showed, real tough on right-handed pitching. That's what, right-handed hitting. That's what the Phillies have coming up. We've got a 3-run lead. Just because it's a save opportunity doesn't mean we have to go to our closer. We're going to see if Vallejo can get us out of this 9th inning and get us a victory. And Vallejo did get a grounder back to him to get the first out of the inning, but they are pinch hitting now with Luis Ortega, who has tremendous power, particularly, he's particularly rough against right-handed pitching, but he's not that good against left-handed pitching, so we are going to make a call to the bullpen here. Using a lot of pitchers. We're going to go with Matthew Wenzel, guy who was the last guy to make the team. I think the lefty-on-lefty matchup here should favor him against Ortega. We'll see what Wenzel can do. And Wenzel coaxed the grounder to Seifu. Let's see if Wenzel can get us out of the game here with 2 outs. Grounder to, looks like, made the play. Bounced off of the first baseman. Shortstop made the play, threw it over to first. And the Buffalo Wings are 6-3 winners in the first game of the series. Didn't need to use either of our 2 top arms out of the bullpen in the closer, Bryce Miller, or the excellent left-handed stopper, Walborn. So got a little creative with the pitching. In Philadelphia's defense, Tyler McGill did give them 7 innings of relief. He gave up that home run to start things off, and then he was clean after that. So a great performance by McGill. Saves their bullpen. We used 5 pitchers, but we have win number 1, hopefully on our way to 11 victories in the 2034 playoffs. So our Buffalo Wings are up 1-0, despite having won only 3 out of 12 during the regular season against these Phillies. Pretty much went the way we wanted it to. Got a respectable, solid performance from our ace, Sincere Shazier. The big free agent acquisition, Shamar Jenneret, with the big 3-run home run early in the game. Got a 6-0 lead and held on to win 6-3. We have our de facto ace, Alexis Barajas, making his postseason debut for the Buffalo Wings, going up against Kevin Navarro, the 25-year-old, 13-8 with a .399 earned run average for the Philadelphia Phillies here in 2034. And it's been a very different game here in Game 2. We've made it to the bottom of the 3rd inning, and Tim Gaglia just led things off with the first hit of the game. Philadelphia did have their leadoff hitter on in the 1st inning on an error by Deshaun Seifu. but both pitchers have been good so far. But our hope is with a runner on second, we can maybe somehow get a run across, even though we've got the bottom of the order coming up against Navarro. And we did end up manufacturing a run. Anderson grounded out to short. The runner moved to third, and then Andres Medina just grounded out as well, but the runner came in from third to score. So Gaglia across with the first run, and a 1-0 lead for Buffalo here with 2 outs in the bottom of the third inning. And Seifu singled with 2 outs. We sent him, and he just stole second base with 2 outs. We don't care what the book says. If Deshaun Seifu is on base, we're going to try to get him in scoring position. We'll see if Juan Estrada can come up with a big 2-out hit here with Seifu on second. And it looks like he is not going to. Pops it up to the second baseman, and we are headed to the top of the fourth, 1-0, Buffalo over the Phillies. And the Phillies finally have their first hit of the game, a 2-out double by Jake Spring here in the top of the fourth. You can see Barajas has been good today, 5 strikeouts through 3 2/3 up against the slugger Andres Severson, 14 home runs this year for the Phillies. We'll see if Barajas can get out of this situation. And he cannot. A single by Andres Severson. It is all tied at 1-1 here in the top of the fourth. And it looks like Barajas will get out of the inning, but Buffalo scored 1 in the bottom of the third, and the Phillies come right back to tie it up in the top of the fourth with stringing their first 2 hits of the game together. And this one remains a pitcher's duel. We've made it to the bottom of the 6th. Game is still tied 1-1. Our catcher, number 9 hitter Andres Medina, just led off with a single. So we have the top of the order coming up against Kevin Navarro. He's only thrown 62 pitches, so probably not close to getting him out of the game unless we string a couple hits together here and give ourselves the lead. And we've got an opportunity here. Deshaun Seifu was out on a fielder's choice. Medina moved to second, and then Juan Estrada just singled to right field. So we've got runners on the corners with 1 out. Mike Heiner coming up. Would love to at least get a fly ball out to right field to hopefully get the go-ahead run in. But we're going to let Heiner hit away here, see if he can come through against Kevin Navarro. And he cannot. 6-4-3 double play, and we are headed to the top of the 6th, tied 1-1. Or we are actually headed to the top of the 7th. And Barajas has been really good. 2 hits are all he's allowed over 6 innings. He struck out 8. See if he can get the left-handed hitter Jake Spring and maybe get 1 more inning out of our ace. And we got out of the inning, so 7 innings in the books for our ace. Navarro's still on the mound for Philadelphia here. See if we can start getting some runs here in the late innings. And I could be good wrong here. I just have a good feeling about Shamar Jenneret. I think he's going to come through here, leading off the top of the 7th, or the bottom of the 7th. And my good feeling was misplaced. It grounds out to short in the inning. And it was 3 up, 3 down for our Buffalo Wings there in the bottom of the 7th. They did go to the bullpen, so we got their starter out, and they are going to get our starter out too. They have made the pinch hitting move to the left-hander Luis Ortega, who, as we saw in the previous game, is pretty vulnerable to left-handed pitching. So Barajas, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts. Did allow the 1 earned run, but a start fitting of an ace. We are going to go to our stopper, Lorne Walborn, the left-hander. Had a brilliant season for us this year on the mound. Led the National League in games and holds, 159 strikeouts and 150 in the third innings of relief. 2.16 ERA, 195 ERA plus, 54 FIP minus. They're pinch hitting with Ortega, and we've got a few more lefties coming up soon, including the always dangerous Sue Lamb. So hopefully Walborn will do a good job for us here in the top of the 8th and keep Philadelphia to 1 run, and hopefully we can manufacture some offense in our half of the inning. And it was 3 up, 3 down for Walborn. Struck out the second and third batters, so he did his job. We'll see if we can manufacture something here with the bottom of the order. They've got the right-handed reliever Kendall Williams on, and I think it's time for us to go to a pinch hitter for the young center fielder Tim Gaglia. And actually, we don't have a left-handed bat on the bench. They're all in the starting lineup, other than our switch-hitting backup catcher Adley Rutschman, so we're not going to pinch hit with him right now. So we'll let Gaglia hit away against the reliever Kendall Williams. Williams on the season, split time between St. Louis and Philadelphia, was pretty good in both spots. Looks like a pretty nice profile for the right-handed reliever. And it was a 1-2-3 inning for the Phillies pitcher there in the bottom of the 8th, so we're heading into the top of the 9th. Still tied at 1-1. We are going to keep Lorne Walborn on the mound. Only went through 10 pitches last inning. He's very rested, and we've got a day off tomorrow, so hopefully we can get another inning out of Walborn, and then going to have the top of the order up next inning. So if we can get through, we just need to manufacture a run with Safety leading off, which is not the worst situation to be in if we can get these 3 outs without allowing a run to score here in the top of the 9th. And Walborn struck out the first batter, but the right-handed hitting Frank Briseno just singled. So 1 out. The left-hander Jake Spring is up. We're back in double play depth, hoping to get a double play ball to get out of the inning here. Not going to happen with a second consecutive hit. So runners on first and second. They seem to have gotten the best of Walborn. We've got some right-handed batters coming up, and we are going to go to a righty out of the bullpen. And we are going to bring in Marco Jimenez, the right-handed pitcher who we picked up before the trade deadline. Hopefully Severson, who's had big hits in this series, we can get out of this. We're at double play depth, runners on first and second with only 1 out here in the top of the 9th inning. And that is flied out to right field, but the runner tags from second, goes to third. So runners on the corners now, 2 outs, and Josh Lash up. Let's see if Jimenez can get out of this jam. He gets the grounder, and we make the play. So Phillies were threatening there in the top of the 9th. Buffalo got out of the jam. We'll see what we can do in the bottom of the 9th. And as I mentioned, we've got Deshaun Safely leading off. They've still got Kendall Williams in the game. We'd love a extra base hit from Safely here to get things started, but he strikes out. Juan Estrada now up. Another guy who's a pretty good contact hitter. We could use a base runner here. And Estrada, that's looking like extra bases. Juan Estrada with a stand-up double with 1 out. So that's going to put some pressure on the Phillies here. Kendall Williams still in. The left-handed hitting Mike Heiner, 2-time All-Star in 2 Major League seasons, was the Rookie of the Year last year, hit over 300 this year. Can he come through here in the bottom of the 9th? And it is a hit. Just made it over the shortstop, so the runner had to pause there a little bit. But runners on first and third with 1 out here in the bottom of the 9th. And we've got the big man up, Shamar Jenneret. This is the type of situation where hopefully he can come through. We don't even need a home run here. We don't even need a hit. There's 1 out. There's a runner on third. Just need a fly ball deep to the outfield, and this game will be over. The ball gets away, and the game is over. So we won the game. I don't know if that was a wild pitch or a passed ball, but a weird way to win it. But Buffalo wins the pitchers duel 2-1 with a... Go and see in the game log. I missed whether that was a walk-off passed ball or a walk-off wild pitch. A walk-off wild pitch in the bottom of the 9th for the Buffalo Wings. And 2-1 victory. Got a really nice performance from Barajas. Walburn was a bit shaky, but still did strike out 3 batters. And then Jimenez comes on, gets the W. Williams takes the loss on the wild pitch. Not a lot of offense, just 5 hits for Philadelphia and 6 for Buffalo. But we have set up this series the way that we hoped. Had our 2 co-aces on the mound in games 1 and 2. Only allowed 4 runs total in those 2 games. They're both victories. As I mentioned, feel like the left-handed pitcher Christian Guevara, with his fly ball tendencies, his average movement, and our very potent left-handed hitting lineup, more accurately, our right-handed hitting lineup against the left-handed hitting pitcher, or against the left-handed pitching pitcher, feel like we should be able to score some runs here in Game 3. Would love to get by this series pretty easily and get home to Buffalo to await the Mets or the Giants. And with the off day, the Phillies have actually changed their rotation. They have moved up Simon Pacheco, certainly with the excellent movement he has on his pitches. Will be a bit more challenging for us to take the ball out of the yard on. Has only given up 11 home runs 3 straight seasons as a starter. 13-7 this year with a 3.26 ERA, 6.1 WAR. So this is going to be probably the toughest pitching matchup we've faced. We have got the lefty Juan Estrada on the mound, 15-5 with a 3.04 ERA for the two-way player. Of course, you remember he scored the winning run in the 9th on the wild pitch in Game 2 in Buffalo. So a different pitching matchup here in Game 3 than we anticipated. That said, hopefully we can still get a W here today behind Estrada and get this series wrapped up and move on to the NLCS. And Seifu led things off with a walk for us against Simon Pacheco, with Estrada on the mound. Joey Moore, the outfielder we picked up in a trade from the Boston Red Sox, is in the lineup today. See if he can come through here in the top of the first in Philadelphia. And looks like an old can of corn. 1 away. See what Mike Heiner can do with the runner on second. And Heiner pops it up to the catcher. And see what Shamar Jenneret can do here in the top of the first. Jenneret flies out, so the Leadoff double by Deshaun Safety, wasted in the top of the first here in Philadelphia. And after the double by Seifu was wasted in the top of the first, Seifu got an easy grounder to second. It should have been the first out of the inning. He threw it away for his second error of this series. And Philly has a runner on second to lead off the game as well. And Philadelphia ended up getting a sacrifice fly from the number 3 hitter, Jake Spring, to bring in the run. So they have a 1-0 lead at the end of the first here at Citizens Bank Ballpark in Philadelphia. And I'm going to give you all an opportunity here to first guess or second guess me. Juan Estrada is in a bit of a jam here. Runners on the corners, 2 outs in the bottom of the fourth. He hasn't had his best stuff today. I was thinking about going to the bullpen. He's only thrown 62 pitches though. I am going to go ahead and let Estrada try to get out of the jam. And he made the move, got the grounder to short, gets out of the jam, and we'll have Estrada hopefully give us at least 1 more inning. And third baseman Cam Collier just went yard opposite way to left field to tie the game at 1 here, leading off the top of the 5th inning with that solo. And second baseman, catcher, Andres Funky Cold Medina just had a 2-out double. That brings up second baseman Deshaun Seifu here with a runner on second. 2 outs in the top of the 5th. Can Seifu come up with a big hit? Does not appear to be the case. He rounds out to third. Did tie it up on the solo shot by Cam Collier. And we head to the bottom of the 5th, tied 1-1 here in Philadelphia. And we're trying to get Juan Estrada through the 6th inning. I got the first 2 batters and then just gave up a single to Andres Severson, who always seems to be in the middle of things for Philadelphia. We got a bunch of right-handers coming up. Estrada has made 94 pitches at this point, and we are going to make a call to the bullpen for a right-hander. Estrada, 5 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, responsible for the runner at first. And we will bring in the right-hander, Hayden Yinger, longtime starter for us. Hopefully he can get us out of this little mini jam here. Nope, not yet. He gives up a single, so runners on first and second, still 2 outs. Right here, the batter, Walt Miller, right green. Yinger does get the strikeout to get out of the inning, so heading to the top of the 7th. The game still tied 1-1. Starter Simon Pacheco still on the mound for the Phillies. Only thrown 68 pitches through the first 6 innings. And Phillies have finally gone to the bullpen, bring on another right-handed pitcher, Carlos Vargas. Cam Collier, who went yard to left field last time up with a solo shot. Let's see what he can do against Vargas here. Not going to go yard this time. Grounds out to second base for the 2nd out of the inning. And now we've got the young center fielder, Tim Gaglia, up with 2 outs. We'll let him swing away. And Gaglia gives it a ride, but not far enough. Flies out to left field to Indiana. And we are headed to the bottom of the 7th inning stretch time here in Philadelphia. The game still tied 1-1 and another pitcher's duel. And Yinger gave up a leadoff single, but then got the second batter of the inning to fly out to right field. So 1 out, a runner on first. Philadelphia is bringing in the dangerous left-handed batting Sue Lamb. So we are going to go to the bullpen. We've got a bunch of lefties coming up now. Not going to play around here at all. We are going to the bullpen. We are going to see what Lauren Wahlberg, he's at 96% even after the pitching that he did yesterday. So we are going to go right to the stopper here in this role, bringing the lefty Lauren Wahlberg. And obviously he had a day off between now and then. That's what got him back to 96%. So we're going to put the infield at double play depth and hopefully get out of the inning right here with Wahlberg. Play from the first baseman to the shortstop for an out, and Sue there obviously was not intentionally pitch hitting for him with a right-handed batter, but 2 away, and the lefty Jacob Gonzalez on. Up for the Phillies. Good that we got Sue out of the game by bringing in a left-handed pitcher at the very least. See if we can get out of the inning right here. And that looked like it was not a fair ball, but apparently it was. So runners on first and third with 2 outs. The left-handed batter Jake Springham. Let's see if Wahlberg can get us out of this jam and keep this game tied 1-1. And we got it done. Flies out to left field. So it was a choppy inning there for the pitching staff of the Buffalo Wings, but we are still tied at 1 as we head to the 8th. And our number 9 hitter, Andres Medina, our starting catcher, our best defensive catcher, just reached on an error here with 1 out in the top of the 8th. We've got the top of the order coming up with Deshaun Seifu. Medina is not fleet on the base paths. We need to manufacture a run. We're going to pull our starting catcher. We've got Adley Rutschman to potentially come in, but we are going to use the young center fielder Tyreek Hardage as a pinch runner here. And Hardage is not the fastest runner in the world. Miller's got a 60 catcher arm. I would love to get him into scoring position for Seifu. We're going to try to run. We're going to put the pressure on the Phillies. If we can get Hardage to second with 1 out, then we're just a little single away from Deshaun Seifu from getting the go-ahead run. And now they're probably aware that Hardage is thinking about going. We're going to have Deshaun Seifu take this pitch, see if they're pitching out. Takes ball 2. We're going to try to run again. And we got the go-ahead run into scoring position. Just made it there. So Hardage is on second. 2-1 count to Seifu. We're going to let Seifu hit away now, see if our 300 hitting second baseman can come through with a big hit here in the 8th. And he gets plunked. Hopefully he didn't get hurt by that. So runners on first and second now. Joey Moore up. I don't think we really have a left-handed batter on the bench. They're all righties except for Rutschman. Rutschman's going to be coming into the game for Hardage, a catcher eventually. Could try to send both runners, put some pressure on the Philly defense. Do we have the guts to try to do a double steal? I'm going to let Joey Moore swing away. We brought him here to come through with a big hit at some point, and instead he walks to load the bases with one out here in the top of the eighth. Mike Heiner up, left-handed pitcher Jose Ferrer on the mound. We're not going to pinch hit for Mike Heiner. He's hit over 300 both years in the majors. He's the one left-handed hitter that we do have in the lineup against left-handed pitching. Only thing we don't want is a double play ball. Anything else probably gets a run in. No double play ball, no strikeout. And Heiner give us the lead. And Heiner comes through with a single, two-run single. Seifu and the pinch hitter both score, and the pinch runner both score Hardage, and we've got a 3-1 lead with runners on first and second. Shamar Jenneret now up with a chance to potentially open this game open, or blow this game wide open. We are actually going to try to. We're not going to run, even though there's only one out. Let's see if Jenneret can come through here with a big hit. He grounds it out to short for the second out of the inning, so there's runners on the corners now with that 3-1 lead. Bobby Bolig up, and Bolig is not good against left-handed pitching. So we are going to go to the bench against here, and we are going to have the youngster Arturo Flores. 61 home runs between 4 levels of the minor leagues this year. He has never had a major league at bat. And we are going to pinch hit Arturo Flores here for Bobby Bolig. So the first at bat in his major league career, the right-handed hitting Arturo Flores up. 2 outs, 2 runners on in the top of the 8th inning in a playoff game in Philadelphia. And the youngster Arturo Flores is making his major league debut. And Arturo Flores singles, drives in the fourth run of the day. So the youngster with a RBI single in the first at-bat of his major league career. Collier is up now and still have a lefty on the mound. We are going to try to continue going here. Joe Edwards is our third baseman. Bring on the right-handed bat for Cam Collier, who homered earlier. And see if perhaps the young third base / first baseman Edwards can come up with another big 2-out hit for us. And he instead flies out to right field, but a big 8th inning for Buffalo. 3 runs to take a 4-1 lead to the bottom of the 8th. Obviously, we've got some decisions to make here now. And we're going to keep Hardage in left field, which will help our defense. Joe Edwards is going to go to third, and Rutschman is going to obviously come in and catch. He's going to take the spot in the lineup for the youngster Arturo Flores, who came through with the big pinch hit single in his first major league at bat. And although we got a bunch of righties coming up, we're going to keep in the left-handed stopper, Warren Walburn. He's only pitched 2/3 of the innings for us. Did allow the hit. But we'll see if he can handle these right-handed batters. If not, we've got plenty of arms in the bullpen who could help us. And Walburn got the first 2 batters of the inning, a fly out to center field and a ground out to third base. We'll see if he can get Josh Lash here for the final out of the inning, and he does strike him out. So we are now 3 outs away from a potential sweep in the series. Would certainly love to get a few more runs here in the top of the 9th to give ourselves a little bit more of insurance before heading into the bottom of the 9th in Philadelphia. And we've got Tyreek Hardage on first with 2 outs. Deshaun Seifu, the leadoff hitter, up. Love to see an extra base hit here. Looks like single though, but Hardage trying to go to third, and he is in there. So single from Seifu. Hardage goes to third, and got Joey Moore up now with runners on first and third. 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. Joey Moore, hot shot down to third, makes the play to the second baseman, and we are headed to the 9th inning, bottom of the 9th. And we are going to make a couple of moves here with the 4-1 lead. Walburn has pitched 26 pitches now, inning and 2/3, the 1 hit and the 1 strikeout. We are going to go to our closer, Bryce Miller, here for his first postseason action this season. And we are also, and it looks like they've gone to a left-handed batter, Luis Ortega, the power hitter. We've talked about him. We faced him as a pinch hitter, I believe, in both games thus far. We were always the ones bringing in a left-handed pitcher to face him after they announced him as a pinch hitter. They've turned things around on us after we go to bring in the right-handed pitching Bryce Miller. They bring in the left-handed batting Luis Ortega. We are going to make another move with a 3-run lead. Seifu just batted, and the one player that we do have on our bench is Tim Hull, who had been our shortstop a lot of this year. He is better defensively than Deshaun Seifu, so we are going to bring in Tim Hull to play second base. Hopefully Seifu does not need to bat again. Would hate to lose that bat, but we want to tighten up the defense as much as possible and hopefully have our closer, Bryce Hall, finish off this series here in the bottom of the 9th. So he is going against Luis Ortega here to start off the bottom of the 9th. And Ortega gives it a ride off the center field wall. He's really tough on right-handed pitching, and a double for Luis Ortega. So not the start that we wanted, but we are just looking for outs now from Bryce Miller. Ahmed Rosario, and a single, so runners on first and third here, and the tying run is up with no outs in this bottom of the 9th inning. We're going to go to double play depth, see if tightening up the infield defense can potentially help us. Bryce Miller going against Alfredo Carrillo here, and we get. Looked like it should have been a 4-6-3 ball, but a 4-6 fielder's choice. We do get the first out of the inning, but now the speedy Carrillo is on at first. 1 out, runner at first base. Already had 18 pitches for Bryce Miller to just get 1 out. We're going to go back to double play depth. Hopefully we can get the leadoff hitter, Tommy Bernard, here. Strikes him out for the second out of the inning. Still have the tying run up at the plate in the form of Jacob Gonzalez. Do we pull our right-handed closer for a left-handed pitcher? I don't think we do. Miller is obviously not as good against left-handers as he is against right-handers. But B Money is our closer. This is the first opportunity we've had to use him in this playoff series. We're going to give him at least one more batter. Hopefully only one more batter. And he walked him. So now runners on first and second. The tying run is at first. And the winning run is at home plate in the form of Jake Spring. And with that, Miller's been 28 pitches to get just 2 outs. We are going to pull him for the lefty Juan Veliz. I know it's an odd mood to pull your closer, but we are trying to push the right buttons here and get this series concluded here with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth in Philadelphia. The left-hander Veliz on going against the left-handed hitting Jake Spring. And he struck him out, and our Buffalo Wings had the comeback victory. We were down 1-0 early, tied it up in the 5th, and then broke it open with 3 runs in the top of the 8th. It was a very sketchy bottom of the 9th for us, but when all was said and done, the Wings have swept the Philadelphia Phillies after losing 9-12 to them in the regular season, and we are 3-0 victors in the series, a 4-2 win today. So Juan Estrada ended up being named player of the game, did a nice job for us despite not being involved in the decision. Again, emptied out the bullpen using Yinger, Walborn, Miller, and then eventually Veliz came on to get the one batter faced save, got the strikeout on 5 pitches, bailed Miller out, and our Buffalo Wings are on to the National League Championship Series. Juan Estrada with the good pitching game today, as well as the game-winning run in Game 2 is the National League MVP of this divisional series. The Mets have a 2-1 lead on the Giants. In the American League, the Royals swept the Yankees, and the Mariners and the Blue Jays are tied 2 games apiece. And when all was said and done, the 4 division winners are the 4 teams that have made it to the League Championship Series. As we talked about, the Yankees were swept by the Royals. We swept the Phillies. The 2 teams in the other ends of the bracket, the AL East champion Blue Jays and the NL West champion San Francisco Giants, were both pushed to 5 games, but they both ultimately got the job done. So Buffalo and Kansas City were the 2 winningest teams in baseball this year. Both Buffalo and Kansas City will have had some extra rest against the Blue Jays and the Giants. So we'll see what happens in the NLCS between Buffalo and San Francisco in our next episode. Until then, we've got 3 of the 11 wins that we need to have to end up as World Series champions, but we're back in the National League Championship Series for the 4th time in this playthrough. We haven't made it to a World Series yet, so be interesting to see how things go against the Giants with that 90-72 record. We were 22 games better than San Francisco this year, but they finished real hot 9-1 record in their last 10. Previewing this LCS matchup in the National League between our Buffalo Wings and the San Francisco Giants. We took 2 out of 3 against the Giants this year. The 2 best pitching staffs in the National League, ours was first. They were second in runs against. But the offense is very different. We were second in the National League in runs scored. The Giants were 15th in runs scored in the National League. 90-72 record, but we will have home field advantage. But it should be noted that the San Francisco Giants are the defending World Series champions. So if we are going to get the Buffalo Wings to our first World Series, we are going to have to beat the team that won it all last year to do it. And we'll find out whether we can get past the San Francisco Giants in our next episode. Until then, thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.